not dreaming about playing in theater, being in a movie, standing on stage and speaking to an audience? And those skills are very important in our life because everything relates to people. And the more and the better we communicate, the better results we can get in life. So today, we have here the founders of This Is Improv, Angelica and Alexandra Zadak, that will share more about themselves right now as we dive into a discussion about how improv can help us become a better version of ourselves and how in general we can communicate ourselves better out there to the world. So how are you doing today?
We're doing great. How are you doing?
I'm great. So maybe give us a short intro about yourself. What is that you're doing about This Is Improv? What is improv? And then we're going to keep on diving deeper.
Well, my name's Angelica.
I'm Alexandra.
And we're the founders of This Is Improv.
Yes, we started in 2015, so we were still in college when we started, and we actually started with improv for anxiety with our mother when she was practicing in psychology. And she had introduced us to some of her clientele, and from there we did corporate team building and training. We also teach kids ages 4 and up, including adult classes out of our local parks and rec here. We also do the ghost tours here in town under This is Legends of Yesterday. And we have a 501c3 for arts education to grow arts in Broward County called This Is Life Unscripted. Our main mission is to help you unconventionally find your funny and be comfortable with who you are in the community, because who you are is very important.
And I think she said it all.
Super cool. You're doing so many interesting and cool stuff. I love it. So maybe share with us a little bit about what is improv and how can people benefit from that? What is it? What do you do? What is improv?
Well, that's a cool thing. So everything is improv. Everything we do is improv. Whenever we're not planning beforehand, we're performing improv, which is why we think it's so beneficial learning this skill for people to understand, because people think that they're walking into situations and there's no way to prepare for these situations, but there's always a way to rehearse and prepare yourself. And improv is a way to prepare yourself for anything life throws at you. Essentially, theatrically, it's performing without a script. So we have nothing in front of us. We don't have any words to speak that we know of. We haven't rehearsed. We just play and listen to each other.
Yeah, plays a huge part of improv. Mm-hmm.
It probably makes people stressed. You don't have a script. Now you need to play.
That's the main issue that we have with our students. That they first come in and they go, well, I thought I was getting a script. Isn't this a theater class? And I go, this is different. It's a bit different. But you should be comfortable, because like the beauty of improv, it's a non-judgmental, free form of art. So there is no limit to the potential of like where you can go in a scene, what you can do in a scene, how you can do this scene. And your imagination is your biggest asset, because the second you like open up your mind and you just are in the moment, then it's brilliant.
So we basically help people unlock their imagination again.
Yeah.
I love it. I think sometimes, many times in our life, we forget that we have imagination and we forget that we need to use it, because that's what moves the world. And all the great ideas came from someone's imagination. They believed in something, they thought about something, they imagined it. Mm-hmm. So that's super important. And I'm curious, what do you see if we're going to look at it so from maybe a different perspective, a self-development perspective.
Okay.
And we look at people when they first arrive to an improv class and how they develop along the classes. They learn to play. They learn to use different aspects, I assume, of body language, of tonality, of facial expressions. How does it help people develop in their own personal lives doing it?
Well, the first thing it does, at least what I see, is the first thing we need to do is knock them down from feeling they have to be perfect feeling like they always have to be this image of something, whatever they've built up, that expectation that society has put on them, wherever they are, whoever they are. So we start everything by making them as silly as possible, getting them out of their comfort zone so that they're prepared to unlock other things that come from working with spontaneity, working with your imagination, and letting go.
Yeah, that's a huge portion. I work a lot with the kids and teens. And one of the main things that they are uncomfortable with is either public speaking or communication. And what you want to do is show them that, like, we're all doing the weird thing here, and that's okay because you're not wrong. And that's your main bit in improv, is like everything you say is fact and candid and true. And throughout classes, as since then, our kids' classes, they all make a group chat and they talk together and they hang out outside of class. And it's the same thing with the teenagers. And you see growth, and then the parents' reaction of, oh yeah, they had a huge project and they were brilliant. They did exactly what they were supposed to do, and their teacher was impressed because they didn't use any script. They didn't do this, and it was entertaining. And that's what I love to hear. I love to hear that our students, whether it's in work or school or whatever it is, they're just happy with themselves, because you want to leave knowing either like, oh, I don't care, it's fine, whatever happened, happened. And that's how it should be, because what you did is you did the best you could do, and you should be extremely proud with that fact.
How do you get into opening your own improv course training?
I know. It's so weird. I know.
So we've been practicing theater since we were in middle school.
Yeah.
And so it's funny how the skills never change. It's the people who perform in it, their point of view. So we got older. Our professor introduced us to Second City. We found out about what the world could be like. We went to Chicago and we saw people sitting together, collaborating to create something. Like, they knew they were going to come together and create a product together, but they could only do it if they communicated, if they got together to build that thing. And it was just so impressive. And we saw all improv was capable of doing. So when we came back through college, we started developing This Is Improv, and trying to discover what it could be called. What better than This Is Improv? Everything we do is improv.
It ended up becoming a joke because we were trying to figure out what we should call ourselves. It's, man, what do you call an improv company? And we're trying to figure out these quirky names and, like, weird names, whatever. And then all of a sudden, Angelica just goes, "We are improv. This is improv." And we were still in college at the time, so I was 19 when we started. And it was really scary to say, oh yeah, I'm going to start a business in improv and this is my thing. And to also pitch to businesses as a 19-year-old that I can help you. Like, I know I have the skill set to help you. And don't look at my face when I pitch this thing, because trust me, I have the information, I have the training, I have the facts. And we were so extremely lucky to have, like, amazing mentors growing up, from middle school to high school to college. And like, going to our college, we went to NSU, and it's like one massive network hub. And we worked with our local chamber of commerce as well. So I think putting yourself out there also is, like, one of the key things of having the confidence to start this kind of, like, different sort of improv company.
And the thing too is it's so important. We really believe that the skills that we learn are important in so many facets of life. We like having fun ourselves outside of helping people with communication skills, performing, playing, imagining ourselves in different situations. And it's so magical to see people pick that up. Their eyes just change. They get like this twinkle in their eyes when they start to understand and make that connection back to that different way of communicating and creating with each other.
It's really funny because we improv just in general, like while we're talking or while we're like just at home, then we end up playing and we're like, oh yeah, because it's like a thing that we're obsessed with. It's a thing that we're nerds about it, basically. Yeah. And we know the history of it. We know how it functions, and we know the mentors, and we know the greats. And we try to apply that to what we do. And we just want other people to experience like the bliss of knowing that you just did something so fun.
I feel it's like a great way to solve problems. We practice the brain to find solutions. I've been into your show and workshop, and it was amazing. So from experience, it's like you give someone the one that I participated in was you gave us a scenario, and in the scenario we needed to complete the story. Like we need to keep on completing the story, and we need to come up with ideas. And at first, the mind tells you with what I'm going to come up, and then find out that the brain just have the answers for it. You just think about it. You don't need to think about it. It just comes out.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great practice for solving problems, for finding out solutions to things that maybe we're not aware of or not sure how to. If we have a goal and we're not sure how to get there, finding creative solutions.
Definitely. I mean,
get there.
theater is education. So I very much go by that, because when you are doing improv scenes, you have maybe 3 minutes in a scene, maybe, especially if you're doing short form improv, to solve the issue. So like there's always a problem presented because that's, your plot. And then you have to solve whatever problem is going on. When we go into our team building with our corporate clients, that's exactly what they focus on. And they give us whatever situation it is that they're dealing with at work, their mission statement, if they would like to revise it, or just like common situations that they have to deal with at work, or elevator pitches. And those moments of it clicking for them of, oh, if I just keep talking, like I'm going to have a good idea. And that's the whole point. I mean, you're actively letting go of whatever your brain is holding you back. And you're talking, and you find out that you actually, like, your first reaction is normally the correct reaction. And it should be natural, because when our students that take our drop-in classes think it's funny because we go, improv, you're not supposed to be funny. Like, we're not trying to make you funny. We're just trying to make you honest, because the honest reaction is the right reaction. And it ends up being funny because it's relatable. But problem solving for sure.
Yeah. And Yuval, I think you played one word at a time story, which is fantastic for problem solving. Yes. And I think that I think your group did come up with some funny things.
Yeah.
Having to do with some kind of animal.
Yeah, there was some animal involved. But the beauty of that game is that you have such a lack of control in that.
Exactly.
Because you were in a room with about 15 other people, I think, something like that, more maybe. And the fact that you all have to create this group thing of like, how can I solve this problem that's going on, while also keeping in mind that I'm not the only one telling the story. I've got other people involved here with other solutions and other brains and other backgrounds here. But the fact that you guys were able to work together and create a clear beginning, middle, and end to your tale was so fun, because how can all those brains do like one thought? And that's what's cool.
And to give explanation of one word at a time story, so it's one person at a time gives one word to complete a larger story. So we all know what we're talking about. So I love it because you are giving you have the spotlight, you're given the spotlight, and then you have to relinquish it. So just like you said, Yuval, you might have this idea, like the story should go one way, the story should go another way. I have this great idea, but we can't always control where the story goes. And we cannot control what another person does. All we can do is control our reaction to what they do. All we can do is control our next word that we're adding to the story in order to solve that larger problem together. And it's such a fun game. I love it.
It is like becomes a full story. And the cool thing is sometimes you think, okay, this word I have in mind is going to fit so perfectly into the story. And then someone else shifts the story into a whole new direction.
Completely.
And you got to come up with something else. And I feel like that's how life works. We can plan as much as we want, but life might have different plans for us.
Yeah, for sure.
So we have to, the more we move, the more we improv, the more we have the flexibility, the more we are able to create, to do more things in our life.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like that quote that like life's a game and we're all playing it. 110%. I think it is so fun that I don't know what's going to happen next in my everyday. And there's going to be situations, but at least I know that I have a certain skill set where I can go, okay, rather than being extremely worried about the issue, I just take a step back and go, well, we'll figure it out and it'll be okay. We're all okay. And that's so fun for me.
What are the things that you work on with people when you improv? Like, what are the for example, you work with them on specific skills, specific techniques, specific things to help them improve their expression skills in improv.
Yes.
Yeah. We cover a couple of different things. I mean, again, it all depends on what it is that people are looking for. But there's sometimes people who come into our drop-in classes that honestly just want to learn how to be around people. And that's a really fun thing to see them kind of grow and change and shift. There's also people who are in the field of psychology. There's people who are teachers. There's people who are performers that come in, and they're there either to have fun. The performers are there to grow skill. And then you've got some of the educators who are there to learn how to work with X amount of personalities because they are educators, so they have to learn how to work with hundreds of different personalities of students coming in and out of their classrooms.
Two examples I can give you are, so like Alexandra said, we work with a spectrum. And what we like to do, because improv is so helpful, is work with each group specifically, their needs. So for example, business, we might work with the business leaders or educators, again, relinquishing control, listening to the group, and being able to work with uncomfortable situations. So say someone's coming up to complain, how do I deal with this? How do I problem solve in real time with my employees? Then psychologically, I work a lot with cognitive flexibility. So working with being flexible, the spontaneity that we would learn, the imagination from improv, also communication, nonverbal communication, verbal communication, tone, all these different things that help us communicate. It's so funny. We wouldn't necessarily think about all these different aspects, but it's also important, and we can accomplish it really through play.
One of the things that actually I took away from one of my mentors is the voice and movement portion. So, they had combined it with psychology. So Carl Jung's personality types. So now when we go into a classroom, I'm currently teaching our leveled courses, our 201, which is character development. And they're going to be going through these character journeys, going into child or crone or hero or whatever it is. And these skill sets are specifically there for them to grow and understand other aspects and emotions and personality types so that they can better understand themselves. And I thought that was so fascinating because psychology and theater are just so easily connectable because you need them. 80% of a person's personality is in their body language. So you have to think that every part of you is important at the end of the day. So it's so helpful to just work on every part of you, not only verbal, but physical.
There's a quote that I love that says that the soul doesn't have a secret that the behavior doesn't tell. So we always express our inner world out there, whether we are aware of it or whether we're not, but people see it. So also learning how to improve your body language and working with your tonality, your facial expressions teaches you also about others. And so I'm sure it makes people also more sensitive to other people and aware to different situations. So
definitely.
Yeah, so it teaches us a lot, not only about ourselves, but on others.
Definitely.
Is there any quote or something that someone told you that maybe inspired you to, because you're doing improv, you're teaching people improv, you also have a business, few businesses, you do different things. So you have many hats that you wear. So what, maybe something that someone told you, or a quote that you like that inspires you to become the better version of yourselves?
Mine is definitely one of our mentors, Mark Duncan. He had passed away a couple years ago. And one of the things he would continually drill into our minds is that he would always say, I don't care who you are. I don't care where you come from. I don't care your political beliefs. I don't care your religious beliefs. I don't care about any of that portion. When you're in the room with me and we're talking, I'm there and I'm listening and I am with you and in that moment. And I always try to carry that in every work environment that I go into, because it is so important to understand that I am not you and you are not me. So we have to understand each other at the end of the day as human beings. And that's just something that's always stuck with me for sure.
For me, it's not so much a quote, but a chart that one of my teachers drew on a board. Kevin Riom was one of my instructors at Second City, and he, on the last day of class, wrote, I don't know if he remembers this, wrote on the board a triangle, and it was almost like a cycle of your life cycle as an improviser. And one part of the cycle was as a student. And then the next part of the cycle was as a performer. And then the last part of the cycle was as a teacher. But the cycle continues. So you should continuously be a student. You should continuously teach, and you should continuously perform all facets to give yourself an understanding. Just because you teach, because you perform, doesn't mean you can't still learn. And teaching teaches you so much about others and learning for yourself. What are they thinking? How can I help them improve their understanding of this skill, of this performance, of this show, of this art?
Love it. You had some great ideas. I want to take a look at your maybe philosophy to life.
Okay.
And to improv. What do you think people should take or think about when they get into a situation where they don't know what to do?
Yeah. I mean, but do you ever know what to do?
No. Never. You should never know what to do.
You should never know what to do. It's all an experience. If they don't know what to do,
One of my favorite quotes, going real basic philosophy here. Some people might like this, might not. Socrates, I don't know. And I love that. I love the idea that we never really know. And there's philosophy to debate that. But that philosophy walking into a situation, we don't really know. We can set up an expectation for what we're walking into, but we really don't know until that moment what we're walking into. So why not have fun with it? Why not live in the moment and experience it as it comes?
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
No, I mean, I agree with you. It's so difficult to predict, and we stress ourselves out, and stress isn't necessarily a bad thing because it does, help us solve problems. But it's the fact of we stress over what if when you're going to experience the thing, and you don't know what you're going to do going in, and not every single person can tell you this one way of how you should solve that problem, because like we said before, everyone is different and everyone is going to have that different situation. So really it's looking at yourself to solve a problem of not knowing what to do in a situation. It's what have I done in my past to help me here? And that's normally the best way for you to solve a problem, is because you should know that yourself, you are smart, you are intelligent, you have the capability to solve.
I love it. Remember that remembering it's also an important step into solving problems. Looking back about what you said earlier, so I told you that that people, what would people do if they don't know what to do? And I would love to like to pay attention to your answer right after that. You said, "Oh, do you ever know what you're gonna do?" You like not in those words, but you said it, something like this. But
Calling us out.
yeah. And why I want to mention it is because your tonality. So we could have said it in. You could have said it. Oh wow. When do we ever know what we are about to say? Or but you said it with a tonality of curiosity, of ooh.
It's
So it
fun.
changes the whole state of mind. It changes the whole energy into the problem. So you get the problem with excitement and curiosity, which gives a different mindset of solving it. And I loved it, just seeing it from the side. So it means that in your philosophy, in your mental philosophy to approaching problems, you're like already solving problems, coming with an energy of solving problems. And I think it's something very important for people to pay attention in their life. What's your energy and what's your philosophy when you're facing a problem? Do you feel or say, okay, now what I'm going to do? And you get annoyed, or you get curious and you start to get excited about it. Wow, now I'm going to solve it. Now I'm going to discover what I'm going to do. And maybe I don't know what I'm going to do, but we will see where it takes me. So
and that's the
energy,
game.
that's the energy.
The game.
That's improv. And I loved it. So I had to mention about it. So people can also pay attention to those stuff, because it's very important. Maybe we can summarize our episode today with an advice for our listeners of what do you think would be an important thing for them to take from our conversation, maybe a new idea that you have in your mind that will help them become a better version of themselves, maybe using improv or other tools from your life. You can share with them a tool, technique, an idea, whatever comes to your mind that will help our listeners to take their life a step forward and become a better version of themselves than who they were yesterday.
Play, have fun, live in the moment of the situation. Yes, and life. I would say.
You would say, my biggest thing is listening and digesting. So you're listening to what people are telling you, and you're taking it in. You're not just letting go of whatever conversation is. Everything that someone tells you is a gift. So if you do listen and you digest that thing, then that's something that could really help you out in another situation.
That's amazing. I think it really completes both of your playing and listening. It's like one time we're expressing, one time we're playing, we're having fun, and one time we're listening, we're paying attention to other people. So it really completes the whole picture. So I think those are some great ideas for our listeners to take and for every person in the world to use, because if we're not having fun, it's not fun. And
that is correct.
And if we're not listening to others, then we're missing the picture, because the way I see it is communication is always out to the world. When we speak with people, they hear us. When we communicate our body language, we don't see ourselves. Our communication is always towards someone else. And the way I see it, we were born to impact. Our purpose is to impact others. We are always, only if we look at the mirror, we see ourselves. But we're not born to impact ourselves, but to others. Use our skills, our innate skills, to bring the person we were born to be out to the world. So discovering it and using improv to actually bring more sides in us, more skills, discover more skills that we have, develop more abilities, ideas, philosophies in our life is a great tool to keep on becoming a better version of ourselves. Angelica and Alexandra, I want to thank you for being with us today and inspiring our audience and all of us to become a better version of ourselves than who we were yesterday, with such an interesting and fascinating knowledge. So thank you very much for being with us. And by the way, I want to make sure that people can find you online, how they can search, learn about your This Is Improv and other things that you do, how they can find about it.
They can go on thisisimprov.com. If you're looking on Instagram, it's at This Is Improv. We also, our nonprofit is thisislifeunscripted.org, or on Instagram,
This is life unscripted.
Love it. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.